yapping about Gilmore Girls and complaining about Gilmore Girls go hand in hand. Hi, I'm beloved longtime newscaster Phoebe Taylor.
And I'm Jacque.
And welcome to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Where we ask the questions that everyone's thinking and no one's answering.
Oh, you yes and me. Oh, that sounds good when you do it in a little news voice.
Newscast?
Where everyone is thinking and no one is answering.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that. That inflection. that choice. Cute. Yeah.
This is our third time recording this episode. Trying to
record.
What happened the first time?
That makes sense. Gilmore Girls year 3.
Yeah.
Third time.
Oh, that's why. We've been plagued. Yeah, we've been trying to bring the episode to the people.
Mm-hmm.
But Spirit says
No.
I'm
really quite angry that fall TV is the landscape that it is, because
we were just bitching about this. Where's Gilded Age? Where's White Lotus? Hello? What am I supposed to be doing? I only have one new... Actually, that's not true. I got 2 TV shows.
What are you rocking right now?
I have Survivor.
Right.
Duh.
Obviously.
Dodoy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have new season of What We Do in the Shadows has been coming out.
Oh, really?
That's good.
So funny.
Yeah. That show I'm like pissed I didn't write. You know?
You would be impeccable in that writer's room.
You
would be so good at that show.
All over that.
That is like you to a T.
I know. I know.
Yes.
I know.
So good.
I was looking at a tree the other day, gleaming in the light.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely glowing in that fall sun. And I was like, transition seasons. They're weird.
They're my favorite.
They're my favorite too.
Yeah.
But my God, they cause a lot of feelings and stirrings. But then I was like, I don't want to work in winter or summer.
No.
So really, we're only ever really hustling in the fall and spring.
In the transitions.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Growing, shedding,
yeah,
death, renewal, rebirth, recycle, sustainability. Oh, no, that's something different.
Wait. Yes. I don't know. I feel like so I went to visit Grandma Priscilla.
Mm-hmm. We got to get her on the pod. She has no interest.
No. Oh, no,
She has no interest.
No interest. But you know, my grandma...
Could I give her money? Could I entice her with cash?
No. The only thing that woman wants is to die.
She's better than us.
The only thing you can entice her with is death. Literally. Grandma, I love you.
Yeah, what does Priscilla have to say?
Priscilla took us
she up to?
On a little walk around the property because we've moved into a different locale, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, not we.
Yes.
Priscilla has moved into a different locale.
Into a different part.
Not the
of the...
You have moved, but that's been discussed.
Yeah.
That's old news.
Thank you for checking my codependency, Phoebe. What?
No, it's not that. You just speak in the plural sometimes, and I understand, but like...
Yeah, I understand.
Mm-hmm. You love speaking in third person.
It's also both.
You love calling yourself she.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we go outside in a lovely fall walk of the property because my grandmother has moved from a different part of the facility that... Yeah, what... And let me just say... What are we doing to these old people?
Oh, I know. I know. I will never ever do that to my parents. Like having done that with my grandparents and like moving them around, shuffling them, and like being a caregiver.
Yes.
To people in those situations, I will not be doing that again. Like, let me tell you that.
I think it should be like reversed.
Yeah, it's so yes.
We should be I should live where my grandmother
You should be there.
right now,
Yeah.
right in
You
this
shouldn't be just wheeling and dealing out in these streets.
portion of my life.
You know what? We should have people, this is where I really think Singapore's getting stuff right. We should have graded release systems just in general. I'm not even talking about jail. I'm just talking about people are so obsessed with freedom. What do you need to be free about, huh?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Just get a little political on the pod. Just getting a little political.
The season of where we're at. But I just was like, this is actually not. There's so many things. Yes, there's the safety of it all and the care, and there's so many good, quote unquote, reasons, beneficial reasons, helpful reasons for my grandmother to be there, right? But I was just thinking, conceptually, right? These people, these beings, these souls in this space, what, what do they got going? It just feels so unfair. But then my grandma pulls out a decoupaged bowl from her.
Oh, she's been down at the Arts and Crafts Lounge?
From her arts and craft class.
Good for her.
And, has nothing but wonderful things to say about this bowl. And I'm like, maybe you're fine. I don't know.
Good for her. Because when I would take my grandma down to the Arts and Crafts Lounge, I'd be like, come on, girl, we're getting our crochet on today. Let's get out of here. Yeah. Oh my God, you want to know where I get my meanness from? My grandma. 2 people's faces. They're fat and ugly.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a room with these old idiots. Oh my God.
I think that's what Grandma Priscilla is doing. I think she's begrudgingly doing it, but she's doing it. You know what I mean? Good for her. And I was like, good for her. And so we went out and we had a nice little walk, and she showed me the fountain and the fall trees. And she has a beautiful little, little garden that she looks out.
Does she have a boyfriend there at all?
My grandma?
Yeah. My grandma. See, I can't wait to the old boyfriend part of my life. That's what I'm looking forward to.
She doesn't have time for that.
Amen.
And, this is such a great segue, actually, because my grandmother reminds me a lot of Emily Gilmore.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't watch that show for that reason for a long time. Because Emily Gilmore reminded me of your grandma.
Yes.
No, because she reminded me of my grandma.
Exactly. Emily Gilmore is
Love
everyone's.
My grandma.
Is every No, it's not everyone's.
No, not everyone's. We're fucked up.
We're fucked up.
No.
Also, we are, white upper middle class women, right?
Well, speak for yourself, but anyway. Not what Nancy was rocking.
No,
we were doing.
Not what Nancy was rocking.
Milk in the or water in the milk.
I mean,
water in the milk.
Here's the thing, though, is that I feel like Nancy was really doing it right. For everything that she, didn't have, tried to have, all this stuff, Nancy really lived a life.
She lived her life, and she lived her
life. Yeah, exactly.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Played the spoons, got her drumsticks right in front of me.
Yeah.
Actually, I sent you that photo the other day of her beauty pageant bikini. Yeah.
I just recently hung up on our photo wall I have 2 pictures next to each other. I have one set of my grandparents hugging as young hotties, staring, at the camera, smiling. And then I have another set of grandparents as young hotties, staring at the camera, smiling and hugging.
It's cute.
Anyways,
lovely.
Grandma visit.
Lovely. Grandma's good segue.
And she was saying that she loves the fall transition season as well.
If there's one thing I know about Priscilla, if there's one thing I know about your lineage.
Yes.
She's all over a transitional season.
Oh, she loves it.
Actually, I also know that based on the clothing that you steal from her.
Oh, yeah. Well. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We picked out some new pants. We had a great time.
Lovely. Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. I guilt trip you into this all the time, I know. But whenever you're like, should I go see my grandma? I'm like, yeah, because I can't. So
No,
I can't go see my grandma anymore, and there will be a day when you can't, and that's sad. So
I mean, these
everyone,
visits.
call your
Yeah,
grandma.
call your grandma. Call your grandma. Stop listening to this.
Stop listening to this
and call your grandma.
And call your grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I actually really think all the time whenever I'm having a little bitch fit about something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what would Nancy, or also, what would my grandpa Ozzy say?
Mm.
He would have enough of me.
Mm-hmm.
I only got in trouble once
with
him, whatever. Didn't like that.
Yeah.
Didn't like that. So anyway.
Grandparents.
Call your grandparents.
They give good advice. They really do.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I guess we're going to talk about, we're going to give advice for the next hour. Could you imagine if this was an advice podcast? An advice podcast?
No, I can't. We do not have the.
Whenever I'm listening to like
ability.
Somebody call into like an advice podcast and they're like, my boyfriend, I'm like, dump him.
No, I know.
Dump him.
Yeah.
Break up.
Yeah.
Leave that man.
Dan. I cannot be Dan. What he deals with on that podcast.
I know.
With these people calling in, the patience of this man.
I know.
Like, we can't do that.
I know. Literally last week on the Savage Love Cast, it was like, I was like, yuck, ew, no, get out. And he's like so kind to people too. Anyway, Dan Savage, if you want to come on the pod.
Yeah, actually, Dan Savage, I would love to talk about the fact that you hear the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And how you continue to keep going.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, today on the pod, what are we talking about?
Today we're talking about...
It's our third time recording this, and I still don't really know what our question is.
Our question is... Is Gilmore Girls a business?
Is Gilmore Girls a business? Ooh, do you ever feel like Gilmore Girls
is a business?
It's our third annual Gilmore Girls episode, and I can't believe, I mean, I can't, that when I first decided to do a little lull on you with our first Gilmore Girls episode, that I would trap myself into a lifelong discussion about Gilmore Girls with you.
Investigation.
A lifelong investigation of Gilmore Girls. I cannot get over the name of Kelly Bishop's book being the third Gilmore Girl. It makes me LOL. Like she's kind of she's like a secret Gilmore Girl, or like it was like called Two Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Like I just like the wording of it is so silly, goofy to me.
Insane.
It's so funny.
Insane. I think in and of itself proves our point. Right there. We can be done recording.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Gilmore Girls is a business.
So we wanted to talk about, we've talked about like the chokehold that Gilmore Girls has had on us. And then what was our second year?
Chokehold.
I don't even remember.
I think we talked about like how it's the show of autumn. How like we know it's autumn when Gilmore Girls comes.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah. But we wanted to talk about like what can artists learn and like take away from this show that has been on television for 2000? Yeah. Okay, so 24 years.
Yep.
For 24 years, we've been flipping on our TVs in the fall to be greeted with that crispy leaf scene. That was like the tree I was looking at the other day. It was like bright orange, right in my face. It was crazy.
That crane shot coming down.
That's a choice.
Into Stars Hollow.
Yeah. Choice.
There she goes playing in the background.
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls. Here we are.
Gilmore Girls, baby. But yeah, like, I don't know, like the staying power of Gilmore Girls, but like the business of it, like what people have made from it. Yeah. We should just rattle off a list of the products, actually. So we've had a couple of memoirs.
Oh, we've had a few. Oh, many
We've had a few memoirs.
Yeah.
We have a coffee brand?
Company run by Scott Patterson, who played Luke.
Yep.
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 We've got merch, like in and of itself.
Just the merch. Go on Etsy.
We've got artists creating pieces of art influenced
you go
by
put
Gilmore
your
Girls.
shirt on.
Oh yeah.
What's it? It smells like snow.
I also have yeah, it says smells like snow. I also have a Luke's mug.
I know you have a Luke's mug.
I used to have the shirt that Rory wears in season 5 and when she goes to college, and it says reading is sexy on it. I used to have
You're
that.
so funny. You're so funny.
Lots of businesses, lots of offshoot. It is 1,000% a franchise. Like, this is a whole thing.
I'm honestly kind of surprised there isn't like a Gilmore Girls world.
I mean, there is. There's like these like there's like these like events that happen on like the Warner Brothers lot, or like there's like these festivals that happen on the East Coast in the fall.
I've seen those. So I was telling you the other day, I learned that there's like some, I think it might be Whitby or something like that, like some small like Southern Ontario town was in the pilot, I think, or something like that, of Gilmore Girls, and like the whole downtown has like capitalized on this whole situation. Like every single fucking shop has those like little shoppy shop keychains that say coffee
Yeah.
on them, or I don't know, just like literally the TikToks or something. Like, I really feel like this is something Lorelai would like. I was like, oh my god, give me a break. But anyway,
yeah, we've got everybody doing a lot, and the man that's doing too much, Christopher,
the most.
What's his name? That
What's
guy.
his name?
I don't even know his fucking name. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. Bad vibes. You know what's so upsetting about that? Because he'll come up on like my like FYP or something like that, and I'll be like, "Oh, that guy," and then you listen, and he's like on some shit about like, what is that nonsense?
Divine masculinity,
divine femininity,
which is literally just like, wackadoo, conservative, misogynistic,
crap. Conservative nightmare factory. Holy fuck.
Like trad wife shit. Like, literally, it's so wild. So wild.
That's like, I know this is such an aside, but like that is truly like the mental gymnastics to like be in like the wellness like world, and then be like, no vaccines.
Yeah.
Like, it is. Yeah. Wow, white supremacy really does a number on people's brains. Anyway, this is a fun show.
YouTube, this is etc.
Anyway,
that show about YouTube like radicalizing people. Oh my god, it's really, really good. It was like an NPR podcast called like The Black Hole or something.
No thanks. I'm good.
It's basically like, how all of the Christophers of the world are sitting in their basement at 21 and become like wackadoos. You know what I mean? On YouTube.
I have male family members. Yes.
Yes.
Anyway.
I don't really have that.
No, you don't. I have I know 21-year-old men. Anyway, but we're going to talk about the cultural phenomenon of Gilmore Girls and the economical staying power. So like I said, the show premiered October 5th, 2000. Did you watch the premiere?
No.
I was a little bit too young to be watching the show right when it came out.
I didn't watch the premiere, no.
But I remember my babysitter would watch it, my after-school babysitter. Yeah. And so that's like was my first introduction to it. And then probably maybe my cousins or something like that. But like maybe like, I don't know, 2001, 2002.
Yep.
It's actually pretty... I'm just thinking about it because you could like kind of grow up with Rory. Like, yeah, it's not weird for a kid to be watching. I mean, also, I had older cousins and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Nothing I watched was age appropriate.
Oh no. I mean, I think also, yeah, exactly. Like the show is meant for like the traumatized youth.
The latchkey kids. Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so Kelly Bishop just popped out her okay, well this episode was kind of inspired by Lauren Graham.
Oh, fucking Lauren Graham.
Walking out at the 92nd Street Y, and for what was it? Like, it was for Kelly Bishop's, like, book. It was
Book.
like
Like,
a
it, like
night with
yeah, Night with
or
Kelly
something like
Vicious, like,
that, or
started her book tour or whatever.
yeah.
Which
And
also, by the way,
s
the content of her bookstore or book tour is insane. All of the
how old is
Emily
she?
Gilmores of the world that are, like, lined up in the little lines to get their books signed.
Crazy. How old is
My
she? She's gotta
grandma.
be 80 something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Pushing almost 90, I wanna say.
I wouldn't wanna be doing
Yep.
that. That's what I think all the time with, like, who was I just watching on TV the other day? And I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, no, it was Julie Andrews." Julie Andrews was being, like, awarded with something, or people are talking about
Oh.
the 3rd Princess Diaries. I was like,
Oh, yeah,
"I
the
would
3rd.
be laying the fuck
Down.
down.
Yeah, no.
I don't even wanna work
Mhm.
in now.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are we doing?"
I don't know what we're doing.
Anyway,
Everyone was
um,
so like, "Oh my god," flabbergasted by the fact that this woman walked out on stage, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, but, like, who else is the guest interviewer
yeah,
at
so
the
it
92nd
was
Street Y? Like, what are we what?
yeah.
Hello?
I know. It was
Hello?"
so funny, but people flipped out. So it was kind of what we were talking about. It's like, okay, not even just the cultural staying power of this show, but like also you can still pump out a New York Times bestseller
Yes.
from this baby,
Yeah.
which also, flowers to Kelly Bishop, get your bag, girl. I'm not shitting on
Yeah.
anyone's game here. I just mean I would be so tired.
I think you would be tired, but I also don't think you would be laying down.
Okay, shut up. Shut up. Leave me alone.
Can't wait to read your book you write in your 80s.
Yeah, do you ever what's that? 40 years from now?
Mhm.
It would be a thing. It would still be a
Yeah.
thing, unfortunately. 50 years from now. Anyway.
Anyways, yeah, I think this show so I think that kind of idea of, like, the staying power of something is, like, the thing that artists can learn from the show, right? So, like,
Mhm.
when we work with folks, we're constantly hearing this pressure that artists and creatives have to reinvent the wheel, to make something new, to start over, to whatever. And I think that this show is a really good example of, like, just pump in whatever you can out of your first
Yeah.
idea,
Yeah.
and not even like in a gross way or like an exploitative kind of way. I don't know if I said that word right, whatever. But like in like the way that like you can go deeper down into an
Yeah.
idea instead of like farther out and have branches, etc. Right? Like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
you can actually just like source down on a thing. Um
Mhm.
in so many ways, whether you're talking about like making something or marketing that thing, you actually can take whatever it is that you've made and get as much as you can out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's so interesting about, I mean, like, the show, the way it was created.
Mhm.
Remind the people, tell the people what Amy Sherman
Oh,
Palladino did when she walked into the Warner Brothers office.
okay. Okay, see, this is a really good example of what we're actually talking about, right? Because
Mhm.
Phoebe was like, "Oh, Jacqueline is a Gilmore Girls insanity person." So
Yeah.
now and then just started off 1 year asking me questions. Now we are revamping this thing every year.
It's actually just the same podcast
It's
episode every
it's the
year.
same thing
Every
basically,
year.
but here you all are. You know what I'm saying? So this is a really good
Mhm.
example of this, right?
Mhm.
We're getting meta in the meta. So,
Yeah.
yes, Amy Sherman Palladino basically, went to a pitch meeting with producers at the WB at the time and brought in some things that she felt really good about and they didn't like. And so they basically were like, "You got anything else?" And she pulled this idea out of a trip that she just recently went on to like a New England inn and was just like, "What if it's about this mom and she works at an inn and I don't know, maybe her daughter's 16 and they're really close." And that was it. And they were
Mhm.
like sold. So like she wasn't, what we kind of call like precious, right? About the thing.
Yeah.
It kind of flew out of her. And then
Yeah.
it's been the thing that has lasted the longest, quote unquote, in her career. It's the thing that's been the most wildly successful, et
Well,
cetera.
it's interesting too, right? Because that's a pretty specific idea, right? Single mom runs an inn.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty
Hmm.
specific and extremely
Random.
broad,
Yeah.
random at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, it has enough structure.
Right.
Like the initial idea has enough structure, has enough constraints
Mhm.
around it. Like, okay, single mom, okay, you can paint that character pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, runs it in. Like you can paint the visuals pretty quickly
Mhm.
as well with these things.
Mhm.
But like what that actually contains, I think, is what has allowed that show to, I don't even know if topical is the right word, but kind of be a blank enough slate for you to project whatever the heck you want onto it.
Yes.
So whether that was like a pop culture reference
Mhm.
or whether that is just like your general feelings about a season,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
that's pretty incredible
Mhm.
to create.
Yeah. Exactly. And that, I think, is something that the show, from a dialogue perspective, like the writing does a really good job of. It's like it's able to kind of hit all the points, or it's able to kind of hit the whole audience of everybody who might be watching all at the same
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
we're like dropping topical pop culture references that, the folks that were watching in real time are going to understand,
Yeah.
while also like dropping some history, or dropping like something the Emily Gilmores of the world would understand, right, at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah. And it's like it kind of expands age in a way, you know what I mean, because of that. And I think that's also
Mhm.
why we have folks now watching it on Netflix, like even the Gen Zers, right, that are like, you know just like think that like Clash is like, or like the Clash or like Metallica or any of
Oh,
these
right.
bands are like
Yes.
super, super, super old or whatever, right?
Oy, oy, oy.
Um,
That's funny.
yeah, it's interesting.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Sidebar, have you heard about Indie Sleaze yet?
Yes.
So fucking funny.
I know.
So fucking funny.
Crazy.
I wish I kept all of that American Apparel stuff from my youth that I could sell on eBay
I
now.
know.
Could you imagine?
Oh
But
my
I don't
God,
think it would have held
American
up.
Apparel. Whoa.
Remember the American Apparel black and white bodysuit that everybody had?
Yes. Did you have that?
I didn't. Oh my
Mm,
God, no.
mm,
No, no, no.
mm.
Like that was my mom is so anything that's trendy. I mean, where do you think I fucking get it from?
Yeah.
Anything that's trendy, mom was like, "That's disgusting. It's stupid." And I was like, "Oh,
Emily
yeah, I
Gilmore.
agree." Oh, you want to talk Emily Gilmore? My mom just doesn't have the budget of Emily Gilmore, but if she could,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah. I love it.
Anyway,
That is
anyway,
something that I think like the show kind of resonates in a way with whoever's kind of watching it because
yeah,
of that. I also think the show does a really good job of of commenting on itself, which I
hmm
think is like a staying power characteristic of something. If
yeah.
something is able to make fun of itself,
Well, and be self-referential
mhm,
in your work, I
yeah.
think is how you create something that people want to have like it's not even just world building. Like there's so many great lessons from this, right? Sidebar, this is a note for you and I for next year's
Mhm,
episode. Like there's so much world building that happens, right? Like the literal town of Stars
mhm,
Hollow and people wanting to go and have like a little Gilmore Girls day
right.
or whatever, right? But then being self-referential enough to like for that like world to deepen even further is quite a feat.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's a show about nothing.
Oh,
And I think
yeah.
it really embodies the nothing of it all. So or not so well. I just think it's a good case study
Mhm,
for all of these things that people say we can't do. Like if you're creating something, it has to be new, fresh, and original,
right.
right? If you're creating something, it needs to be one of a kind. If you're creating something, it needs to be um, interesting.
Yeah, it
I
can't be
think when you're
boring.
creating something, really the only thing that you need is tension. And I think single mom that runs it in
Walking
has a
down
lot
the
of tension.
street
Yeah.
is tension. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think, like, in the same way now that we've got the internet and we're watching everybody's, like, "Come along with me," right? Or
hmm
"Day of," or, like, "I'm gonna make this recipe." Like, that's essentially
Yeah.
what you're watching when you watch Gilmore Girls, is you're just
Yeah.
watching people live
Yeah.
their lives, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, nothing really happens. Okay, so this is a very good example of this thing that I'm talking about. So
hmm
in Oh, I'm mad at myself season 2.
Oh my God. That's so fucking
Season
funny.
2.
I think it's so weird that you can do this. I think it's so weird. It never stops being funny and weird to me.
So in season 2, when Rory is with Dean, they're the Donna Reed episode.
Oh yeah.
And they're watching Donna Reed, Lorelai, Dean, and Rory. They're watching Donna Reed, and
if I raised my daughter who did something like that, I'd disown her right then. That's the line.
Yeah, they're watching Donna Reed, and they're criticizing it. They're saying like women, didn't have options, blah 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 blah, like all this stuff, right?
That was karma just now. Oh my God, that was so funny. That was just karma fully.
Yeah.
The ghost of Donna Reed.
Mad at you.
Woo!
So Rory, Dean, and Lorelai, they're watching Donna Reed, and they're like commenting on like, oh, it's like it's not a feminist show. It's not a feminist show. Nothing happens. They're like, the only thing Donna Reed cares about is like making things, like making food, like blah blah blah, like all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And there's like a layered joke there, right? Like the joke is that the thing that's funny about it, things that's ironic about it, right, is that we're watching Gilmore Girls, which is essentially about nothing, and like you could argue is like not really a feminist show.
Not really. Yeah.
And
I'm sure girl bosses might have something different to say, right? But anyway.
And they're talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is kind of funny too, because it's like Amy Sherman Palladino, she's so smart, what you think is the thing is not actually the thing. And I think that that's like the world, like the like you were saying, being like self-referenced or whatever, I think is interesting. I also think the like world building of the show is another thing that makes it stick around. So not only like you were saying, like literally you're in this world, there's these expressions and there's this saying and there's literally this tempo and language in which all the characters speak at. And there's like, it has a melody and it has like, all of these things, right? You're also being sent in your DVD box set a list of references of an episode. So if you don't know what Lorelai's saying when she makes a quippy remark or whatever, you can go and you can look it up and you can read it.
I mean, the whole thing is full. Like, I consider myself somebody who's like pretty well versed in like pop culture of like the last 100+ years. Like, I think I have a pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
whatever.
You come from a lineage of artists, right?
Yeah, I come from a family of like, exactly, for that exact reason. And I find the references like even when I know them, I'm like, wow, that's like such a choice to decide that is the thing that you want from, you know what I mean? Like,
because some are so obscure.
To stick that in there. Yeah, exactly. To still stick it in there, knowing that maybe only a fraction of your audience is going to carry it at any point, or like, I actually can't imagine being a Gen Z and watching it now, because so much of it is, it was topical for the time, but not in the way that like, I'm assuming episodes were filmed at least like 6 to 8 months before they were airing. I'm gonna,
I don't know. I think they turned them out pretty quick.
You think?
Yeah, I think they turned them out pretty quick, but that's because I'm sick in the head and I read Lorelai's.
You don't know.
Graham's book.
You don't think you know.
I know. Yeah. Called Talking as Fast as I Can, which is all about making Gilmore Girls. I think that they turned them out pretty quickly, and I think that they reshot a lot of stuff to put in like the references so that you still feel like it's of the moment.
Wow.
Yeah. I know.
That's insane.
It's insane. It's literally insane. And also, you want to talk about like content. Those episodes are, all of them are 46 or 45 to 48 minutes long. I mean, they're long, you know?
Yeah.
And they did 24 a season. And they, like, the scripts are huge because of how much dialogue and how fast everybody's talking and how many references there are. You know what I mean? It's such a huge, it's a very technical show in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, something you can learn about with like, right, about art, right? Is like the thing, the subject, the content, like whatever. who cares? It could be
Yes.
about nothing.
Yes.
The technical, the process, the like, you know what I mean? Like that is all where the art happens, you know?
Yeah.
I think for like those scenes, there are some really great scenes in Gilmore Girls for just dialogue, for just like
Yeah.
learning how to write really good dialogue. Yeah, I mean, also Amy and Dave Palladino, Dan, I think it's Dan Palladino, who are like married, basically like executive produced the show and like created the show. That's also quite kind of interesting because you can kind of tell. I mean, like if you're messed up in the brain like I am and seen the show a million times and can recite dialogue, you can tell when it's like a Dan episode and when it's an Amy one, when it's a Dan one and when it's an Amy one.
Yeah.
So partnership is cool. Like you don't have to, is another thing you can learn like from the show, right? You don't have to give up something to share it with somebody else, you know?
That's cute. That's how I feel like when we write the newsletters. You can always tell which one is written by me, which one's written by you.
Oh, I think people can totally tell. I also think people can tell that for like, I mean, literally anything we make. They're like, oh, this was Jacqueline's idea. Or, oh, this was Phoebe's idea. You know?
Phoebe edited this video. It's fucking insane. Yeah, exactly. I just think it's like, it's an interesting show to look at, not just the, like, even from a technical perspective. And actually, you know, I want to back up. It's not an interesting show.
No.
It's not an interesting show. I popped it on the other day. I'm like, oh, I'll watch some Gilmore Girls. And I was like, never mind. I hate this.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me want to die.
Yeah.
You have to be in a particular space, I think, to go there.
Yeah.
But to just do one thing your entire life and pull from that consistently, like you're saying, going deeper with something is, I mean, I'm just a big fan of artists like not making less, but like doing less, especially when it comes to selling your artwork, like especially when it comes to profiting off of it in any kind of way. It's like, oh my God, do the same thing over and over again. I mean, I even felt that way when I was first started teaching yoga classes. Like I felt like I needed to come up, like I needed to reinvent like fucking sun salutations every single week. And I remember one of my bosses saying to me at the time, being like, no, people come because they like the same thing over and over again. And like, that's what that's why people rewatch that fucking show over and over again. Like, that's why people are going to eat up that same stuff, because it's like comfort. I know exactly what I'm going to get every single episode, but like whatever the thing, like whatever thread gets pulled from it, like I know at its core, distilled down, like Gilmore Girls is a like comfort, nostalgia, fall, like relaxy thread I can pull, you know, and I'm not going to get something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a real skill.
Yeah, it is.
To also just not be bored with your own creations as well.
Yeah. And I also, exactly. And I think there's been so many things that basically before Maisel that Amy Sherman Palladino tried to do that, you know, there are other shows that have come out of the Amy Sherman Palladino world, like Bunheads. And there's another one that I can't remember the name of right now, but that just like didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there is also something that to learn from that, right? Of like, I often feel like frustrated that the world wants me to do one thing. You know what I mean? Like frustrated that like the messages that I'm getting are saying, no, stay in your lane, go over here, do this thing you're really good at over and over and over again. You know what I mean? That can be a frustrating thing, but there can also be a lot of like freedom and play in that. You know?
Yeah. And when I say do one thing, I don't mean like, I mean like one idea, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Too, right? Like not, I certainly feel this way whenever something isn't working, like, okay, I need to come up with a brilliant new idea. And like, that's never been the answer for me.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to any problem I have, I'm like, okay, no, what place do I need to redirect energy or thought or ideas instead of something brand new? Something brand new is exhausting
it's exhausting
create. And like, just from like an ideating perspective, right?
I feel like something that a really good example of this for you recently is that you did a solo show. And you did a solo piece and a storytelling piece. But like, if you would have gotten up there and talked about birds or like whatever, like if you would have gotten up there and talked about the thing Phoebe doesn't talk about, right? Like it was a different form. It was a different container, but it was the same things that you're always investigating as an artist, right? Like you did the same thing essentially, but you put it up in a different container, in a different technical whatever, right? And I think that's actually the like exploration, play, newness is how can this be, you know, a painting? How can this be a poem? How can this be a dance? How can this be a whatever?
Yeah.
You know, not all of a sudden do I need to be really obsessed or involved with this thing I don't care about, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, yeah, in this case, essay versus like storytelling piece. But yeah, I think if I'm going to look at like everything that I make, I mean, this is why I say this all the time. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again all the time. I feel pretty confident in that. It's just like might be neon green and then it might have a rhyming scheme to it, or like then I might, make I stick a very dated Stevie Nicks pop culture reference in there, something like that. But like whatever the thing is, it's just like, it's more like the bow is always different. Like the contents of it is the same. I'm still gonna just tell you how I feel about feminism.
Right, exactly.
Modern day feminism, wherever I go.
And I think that's comforting to your audience. We go to Phoebe for this.
Oh, totally. You know what I'm going to get. You know what you're going to get here, right? Yeah. Well, I think yapping about Gilmore Girls and complaining about Gilmore Girls go hand in hand. So I've collected a like list of weird money moments. And also shout out to Princess Weeks and the Financial Diet, because they actually had put out this video the same week that we or a video kind of like this the same week that we were supposed to record. So go there and listen to them as well. But I've come up with a list of like
grievances.
Grievances, or like the ways in which like money is discussed in the show. And I think like even ways that we can learn from these things as people that make stuff. So I think just generally the way that the Lorelais, Rory and Lorelai, live their lives are not actually reflective of the financial reality of a single teen mom. Running a business later on too, a whole other thing, but something that I think about a lot, right? Like I think the show kind of gaslights us into like, her house for one, the amount of takeout that they have for two. Apparently they're broke all the time. And like Lorelai also has this like immense like tailoring skill. Like she's an incredible seamstress.
But she can't cook.
Yeah.
So she's a feminist.
So, yes. You know what? If that's the case,
same.
That's thrilling.
Yeah.
For me. For me.
Yeah.
So I think like just that general outlook. Okay. People that are loaded and it's weird. Luke.
Oh. Yeah.
Luke he just has the money to buy, what's it? The Twickham house.
Yeah.
The Twickham house, and then sell it, and it's no big deal. I mean, the man lives above.
Yeah.
He probably has no rent. No. Right.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't pay a mortgage. Yeah. The only rent he has is on his storage unit for his boat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
he buys. Loaded, he wears the same thing every single fucking day.
Yep.
Like
renovates Lorelai's house, and then when they break up, it's fine. Like you're just gonna take an L on that financially, okay? Like these are questions I have.
Yeah.
Jacqueline hates when I do this, by the way, too. When we're watching TV, and I'll be like, they didn't just pour any coffee in that mug. Like they just went like, and she's like, no, they don't. It's fine. Like, I can't break any kind of reality. So I'm sorry for this.
Oh, you can I agree with everything you just said. The coffee thing, though, is literally not right. But whatever. I will
What are you
take that
talking
to my
about? They
grave.
literally go zoop, and then they're like, big full of coffee. No, it takes a fucking second to pour some coffee in a mug.
Oh,
And I
you're
also know
saying
that
the
there's
amount of coffee. I
yeah.
thought you were saying there's none in there at all. That's not true.
I also don't think there's anything in there.
No.
I don't think
I
that
don't
there's
care. I don't care if
anything in
Lauren
there.
Graham is lying to me. Lauren Graham said in her book that she always had coffee in her mug.
I'd love to know what she's okay, maybe 2 millimeters.
This much.
Whipping that thing around. Crazy to watch.
Whatever.
Next person that's loaded with a question mark, Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Our man out here hustling.
You want to talk about artists? You want to talk about artists? Kirk. A million jobs.
A million jobs out here hustling to make his short film, to do his performance pieces.
Didn't have a name for the first season of the show.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Was different people playing the same person, which again, we have always been self-referenced, like always making fun of the show, right? Like, had to find his voice. Yeah.
Kirk.
Basically, all the men have money.
Pardon?
All the men have money.
All the men have. Whoa. Okay. Speaking of men with money, Christopher paying for the bridge, the knit-a-thon day. And he just pays for the bridge. But I don't even understand everyone's reaction because, like, if you want to sit there and knit, Babette, be my guest.
Yeah, because you could still knit for them. Yeah,
you could still knit.
Whatever.
Relax. Yeah. And then the note I have under that is, we have socialism. We just pay for it.
Exactly.
Which is something I think about a lot in North America. We do actually have socialism. That's what not-for-profits are.
We have aspects of socialism, yes. But we want to act like we don't.
Yeah, but it's too radical.
It's too radical. It's too much.
Crazy.
I think that the wealth thing is so insane. You're probably going to bring this up next with like the parents, like Richard and Emily, and then like Lorelai's whole like,
I'll pay you back
this thing. I have to pay you back for school. I have to do all these things. I am
not that proud. No. I am not that proud. Who's that proud? Who the fuck is that proud? That is a dumb woman. I'll say that. Like, are you kidding me? And then to act like going for dinner on Friday nights is like some actually like big, horrible
thing that's like held over
cost.
Yeah. Your head.
Like, oh, poor you.
Yeah. Hate to ruin everyone's. Well, no, that's not true. It's not everyone's understanding, but Lorelai, not great.
No. No, I think we know.
Terrible, right?
I mean, both of them. Rory too.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Totally whiny. Okay, the risk of entrepreneurship, buying the Dragonfly, that is crazy to me. I'd love to know what their overhead is. I mean, that's, my dad was making fun of me the other day because I was like, how much do you think it costs to run a place like this? Or when we were at Longwood.
Yeah.
We're like, what do you think there?
What do you think the water bill is here?
Yeah.
This fountain show.
That's how you know you're a business owner when you're like, oh my God, what are your bills like?
Benches.
Yeah, I know you. What's their wrought iron bench budget? Like, it's probably the repair fees on their own.
I mean,
through
crazy.
The roof.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, say what you want about capitalism. I had a great day at Longwood Gardens. Not sponsored. Exactly. We don't have that kind of shit in Canada because we have publicly funded gardens. Anyway.
Because you have actual socialism.
Well, not really, but yeah. Anyway, something a little bit closer to that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Getting off topic. No, the risk of entrepreneurship just is so much less for Lorelai than it is Suki, right? I think she has a family at that point as well. Also, would love to take a look at what her mat leave was like.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. But yeah, that amount of money and like blowing through, like going over budget and stuff like that. I just like that's a huge, it's not even just the financial risk of these things, but the, you know, I would assume in a business like that, you're probably not making, you don't have a profit for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
You know, can you afford to not have a salary for that long?
Yep.
Are real things that most business owners deal with. And like that isn't really addressed in this show,
No.
which I think is interesting.
Yeah. No. The Incredible Sinking Loreleis, which is the name of the episode.
Yes.
In season 4, before the inn opens, is that like big fight between Lorelai and Suki, where Lorelai has a baby, or Suki has a baby,
Yes.
and Suki's like, I'm doing the best that I can.
Yes.
And Lorelai's like, I'm sinking over here. I'm taking on everything. I'm doing everything. And I kind of want to be like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
your child has their education paid for. They're like they're 20 something, or they're 18 or 19 in school. Like you
probably
live
contributing
alone.
to household funds.
Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And by the way, if you ever needed anything, you're fine. So shut the fuck up. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like,
ultimately.
yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. Ultimately, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you can still go and ask your parents for more money. You have and you will.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like that whole thing. I know people talk about this in the show all the time, but like, man, like I said, I'm not that proud. Or like even the sex. Was it the way that we were talking about money at the time? But like that Sex in the City episode where Carrie gets Charlotte's engagement ring for the down payment for her apartment. Fuck that. Take money from men.
Well, the thing I find interesting about that is, yes, take money from men, like take that check from Big. But like, you basically took money from a man. That's the thing that I find really interesting about that. Is like there's this whole thing of like, oh, I'm not going to take money from a man. I'm going to rip it up.
I see what you're saying.
But then you're going to take the engagement ring that a man paid for and gave to Charlotte.
I disagree. She fucking earned that ring fair and square. She fucking quit her job. Like all that shit.
She earned that ring fair and square. Did Carrie? It's the same thing of taking money. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
No,
but yeah, I guess it's maybe that kind of like girl bossy feminism where it's like we're just gonna mirror capitalism and like that's what makes it feminist, right? It like it just kind of it makes me frustrated. And I think we still kind of talk about money that way. Anyway, those are my weird money moments.
There's a lot.
Generally, there's a lot. Why the fuck are we paying Richard and Emily back? That's fucking weird. That's weird. Take money from men. But I would like to
why are we acting like making all of Rory's fancy dresses is not as expensive or more as buying
that dress, like that purple dress that she wears? You're just knocking that out in a couple of days. Like, I'm so confused by that one.
So weird.
I'm so, as someone who's just spent the last 3 weeks making a single shirt, I'm confused by that. So anyway, but I'd like to give a shout out. Someone I really think we can learn from, and a absolute, what are the words I want to use? I'm trying so hard not to use the word slay right now. Like, you want to actually talk girl boss. Like, you want to talk to somebody who's like getting stuff done. Shout out to Mrs. Kim.
Oh, of course. Right.
An incredible agent.
Yeah.
When Lane comes to her and says, I'm going to quit, she says, not on my fucking watch. Kims don't quit. We didn't raise you that way.
Yeah.
Books a tour. Yeah. It's small. It's in church venues. She's asking friends favors so that they can stay at their house. Yeah. It's not cool. It's not big, but they are touring working musicians.
Yeah.
They're starting out.
Exactly.
And then because Miss Kim didn't raise no quitter. Yeah. Lane scrimping, saving. They're eating crappy burritos in gas stations so that they have a profitable tour.
Yeah.
And the band gets paid.
Yeah.
That is how you fucking do it, people.
That is how you do it. Also, Mrs. Kim.
Just generally.
Haggling. Best mom in the show.
Best mom. Oh.
By far.
Real. Real. Oh, I think about that a lot, right? Like if I were going to have kids, I would be, no, fuck you. What are you talking about? You don't know anything.
Yeah. No.
Boundaries.
No. Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's just like kind of extreme and like and the god of it all. And like, don't get me wrong, that stuff, whatever.
Yeah, as someone who has religious trauma, I'm sure you can speak to these
Shout
things.
out to Lane Kim. I see you, girl.
Shout out religious
I
trauma.
understand.
Shout out religious trauma.
But also,
hey, it makes you good at business.
A mom who, exactly. But also a mom who
makes you a great artist.
Totally. But a mom who like, who you say like, this is who I am. And at the end of the day is like, I'm going to come in and help you make your dream happen or whatever. So good. Don't know if Lorelai would have done the same thing. I think she would have been like, fuck you, Lori.
Truly. Or if she came to her and said I was going to quit, which she does, she's like, okay, quit. Mm-hmm. Well, that's it. That's what we think we can learn from Gilmore Girls. That's the business of Gilmore Girls. Shout out Amy Sherman Palladino. Gal really knows how to do one thing real well. And thanks for being a little case study for us, girl. And Amy Sherman Palladino, if you're listening, you want to come on the podcast for the 4th episode, the 4th annual Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Go back.
I want to talk about your hats.
Come on. I don't. I can't legally. Anything that what are we doing over here right now? What's going on? Actually, this will come out. This is coming out so fast because I gotta edit this.
Yeah.
But In Process is on Tuesday. If you want to come join us, November 5th, I think, is the first Tuesday of the month.
Which is election day in the U.S.
Oh, which is election day. So if you want to not refresh your phone constantly, come join us in Process, where we can have conversations like this. We can you can bring an existing idea, and we definitely go deeper with stuff.
Oh yeah.
During In Process. Waitlist for Class Outside is up if you'd like to join us we've decided Catskills once again.
Yes, you want to come have a Gilmore Girls winter with us?
Gilmore Girls winter, cabin vibes, storyteller vibes.
Yes.
Fireside chat vibes.
Snow.
Come jump on the wait list. I highly recommend getting on that wait list because we sold out last time, and I think we're going to sell out again anyway. But get on the wait list.
Yes, share this episode if you'd like. If you're a fellow Gilmore Girls lover / every Gilmore Girls lover is also this person. Like, that's the thing, too, is I have not...
Oh, yeah. Like I said, they go hand in hand.
Exactly. I haven't met a single Gilmore Girls person that isn't highly critical of the show. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Share it. We would love to obsess with somebody else. And also, we are doing studio sprints.
Oh, yes. Last call for studio sprints for 2024. Last kind of call, because my birthday's in December, I gotta leave the country, literally.
So exciting.
So yeah, jump in. A couple of things going on. Can't believe the end of the year's coming up. Can't believe it's the fall episode. We're gonna have the holiday extravaganza up real soon.
Oh my gosh,
too.
yes, the extravaganza.
The extravaganza, and I think that's it from us.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Happy laws to you.
La, 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 slay. Okay, bye. Thank you for listening to Do You Ever Feel Like, a podcast from Do You Ever Media.
Follow this chaos wherever you get your pods.
Our artwork is by Simon Pang.
You can write us at doyoueverpod@gmail.com.
Learn more about our work at doyouevermedia.com.
Or by following us at Do You Ever Media.
Okay, bye!
Okay, bye!